Welcome back to the Suhayl the Seeking Fox podcast. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you are loving these deep dives. Grab a warm drink, get comfortable. Tonight we are settling in for a late-night explainer on a seriously heavy concept. We're unpacking the Islamic philosophical idea of Shahada, which is all about the architecture of truth. And before we get too deep, I gotta give a quick shout out to our little claymation buddy Suhayl over there on the desk, who is absolutely ready to seek out some truth with us tonight. Man, this brings us to the ultimate question of what we call epistemic hygiene. I know, it sounds like a totally fancy academic term, but it basically just means, how do we keep our perception clean and honest? How do we stop what we want to be true from completely hijacking what is actually true? It is a massive struggle for all of us, and it perfectly sets up our intimate dive into this profound philosophical idea. All right, let's get into it. Usually when people translate the word Shahada, they just default to testimony. But Shahada isn't just some dry courtroom scene where you swear on a book and answer a lawyer's questions. It is a deeply active, honestly kind of uncomfortable process of being brutally honest with yourself about what you actually see and know. It's about being fully present to reality, recognizing it for what it is, and then having the guts to actually bear witness to it out loud. And this perfectly captures the real challenge we face every single day. The Quran directly links justice to truth-telling, demanding that we do not let our personal biases act like a smudged camera lens. Think about how ridiculously hard it is to stand firmly for justice when the person in the wrong is you, or your mom, or your best friend. This verse is aggressively targeting the exact things that usually blur our vision. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at it next to another concept we've talked about before, which is Qist, meaning justice or fairness. So the crucial point here is that while Qist is about maintaining fairness, like asking yourself, can I keep the scales balanced? Shahada asks a much harder question. It asks, am I willing to truthfully bear witness to what I know? Because if you think about it, a corrupt witness destroys justice before the judge even gets a chance to look at the scales. If the data is fake, the justice is fake. Notice how this builds, too. That verse deliberately calls out how our biases ripple outward in these concentric circles. It starts with yourself, then your parents, then your relatives, and finally, the influence of wealth and status. It is literally mapping out the anatomy of human bias, proving that truth can never, ever take a backseat to who you know, who you love, or what you own. We're talking about a radical level of objectivity here. Now, just like we talked about in a previous explainer with the concept of Birr, or goodness, doing the right thing always costs you something. In this case, acknowledging the absolute truth is definitely going to cost you something in the real world. Truth is not cheap, guys. It demands a sacrifice, and usually that sacrifice is your ego, your comfort, or your social standing. Look at Suhayl over there literally trying to hide behind the diorama from this list. Because honestly, reading this is stressful. Who actually wants to swallow their pride and admit they are wrong, or accept facts that totally wreck their favorite political or social narrative? It asks you to refuse to condemn someone you genuinely dislike just because it would be convenient. This is the real heavy cost of Shahada. We're talking about everyday life stuff here, not just abstract philosophy. So when we put Birr and Shahada side by side, we see exactly how they complement each other. Birr is what disciplines your action. It makes you do good even when it's incredibly hard. Shahada is what disciplines your testimony. It makes you speak the truth even when it hurts. Both of these virtues are constantly fighting the exact same enemy, which is our own self-interest. They're the ultimate test of whether or not we are keeping it real with ourselves. Now, what's super interesting here is that Shahada isn't just suddenly blurting out words. It is a complete cognitive pipeline. First you see, then you know, then you recognize it for what it is, and only then do you bear witness. Meaning, if your initial perception is fed bad data, if you are blinding yourself at step 1, your testimony at step 4 is going to be confidently, aggressively wrong. It's the classic rule, garbage in, garbage out. And that brings us right to your epistemic responsibility. We're talking about mental hygiene. You wouldn't eat food that you knew was rotten or toxic, right? Well, Shahada requires treating the information you feed your brain with the exact same care and skepticism you would apply to your physical diet. If you're constantly feeding your mind a biased, distorted reality, you are fundamentally failing your responsibility to be a reliable witness to the world. There is this beautiful internal architecture at play here. Think about this progression. First, you build character through Birr, you become reliably oriented toward goodness. Then, you develop judgment through Qist, maintaining fairness despite your partiality. And finally, you arrive at testimony, Shahada, truthfully bearing witness. It's an entire system of integrity. built completely from the inside out. But it gets even deeper, because the Quran doesn't just use this word for legal disputes. It ties Shahada to witnessing reality itself. It's used in relation to divine witnessing, to human actions, to recognizing the oneness of God. It's all about aligning your internal compass with the fundamental reality of the universe. So yeah, it is way, way bigger than a judge and a jury. This totally shifts how we understand faith. If you compare Iman, which translates to believing or affirming, with Shahada, you see a massive difference in energy. Saying I bear witness isn't just passively holding an idea inside your head like, oh yeah, I believe that. It is a highly active, grounded posture where you are literally staking your entire being on the reality you've recognized. It's faith with real skin in the game. Let's take a step back and look at this grand progression we've been uncovering together over the last few explainers. It is actually amazing. We go from Infaq, giving up our wealth, asking what we're willing to release. Then Birr, will I embody rightness? Then Qist, can I maintain fairness? And finally, Shahada, will I step up and faithfully protect the truth? It's a complete roadmap for elevating human consciousness way above our base desires. But of course, we have to look at the dark side of this. This leads us to a pretty heavy realization, which I think even Suhayl is stressing over down there, covering his little clay ears. What actually happens when we deliberately manipulate or conceal what we know to be true? What happens to society, to our own souls, when that cognitive pipeline we just talked about is intentionally poisoned? The opposite of witnessing isn't just staying quiet and minding your own business. It is an active betrayal of reality. Epistemic betrayal is seeing it, knowing it, but flat out refusing it or twisting it to fit your own agenda. And that perfectly sets up our next massive concept for a future explainer, Kufr, which in its deepest sense is the deliberate act of covering up the truth. Thanks for hanging out late with us on the Suhayl the Seeking Fox podcast to unpack this architecture of truth. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more deep dives. Suhayl and I will catch you in the next one. But before you go to sleep tonight, I want you to ask yourself a tough question. Where in your life are you covering up the truth just to protect your own comfort? Have a great night, everyone.